In this video, we're going to take a look at solving proportions. So we're going to just start off with a little bit of a review, and we're going to talk about what a proportion actually is. So if you have your foldable, you can go ahead and open it up. And so at the top here it says a proportion is, and basically a proportion is when you have two ratios that are equal. And so it might look something like A over B is equal to C over D. When you solve a proportion, you actually cross multiply. So you solve a proportion by using cross multiplication. And I think back in middle or elementary school at some point you used, you called them propellers, where basically you would multiply, in this case, B times C and A times D. So with cross multiplication, if we have our proportion A over B equals C over D, we would multiply B times C and then set that equal to what we get when we multiply A times D. All right, so the next thing we're going to take a look at is actually solving proportions. We're going to practice a little bit. So here we have a couple of proportions, and with this first one we want to solve for x. So we have x over 9 equals 21 over 7. So we're going to cross multiply so that we get 9 times 21 equals 7 times x. And then what we want to do is just go ahead and multiply. We want to multiply the 9 times the 21, which gives us 189. And then that's going to be equal to 7x. And so now we can go ahead and just divide both sides by 7. And when we divide 189 by 7, we get 27. And so that's our value of x. Now, if you want to check, you could plug 27 in for x, cross multiply, and you should get the same thing in either direction. Another way to check is you can see if one fraction reduces down to equal the other fraction. All right, so there are 3 more of those. I'm going to have you try those for practice, so that should be completely filled in when you come in tomorrow. All right, the last section that we're going to look at is solving algebraic proportions. And really the only difference here is that instead of having single numbers or variables, we're going to have some more algebraic expression type things. So if we look at this first one, we have negative 2/3 is equal to x minus 3 over 6. It's a proportion because we have one fraction equal to the other fraction. And so we can go ahead and cross multiply. When we multiply in this direction, we have 3 times the entire thing x minus 3. We have to multiply both of the things up here, both of the terms, by 3. And then on the other side we have negative 2 times 6. And so now when we clean this up, we get 3x minus 9 equals a negative 12. And now we can go ahead and add the 9 to both sides. And when we add the 9 to both sides, we get 3x is equal to negative 3. And then we can just divide both sides by 3, and our x value turns out to be a negative 1. And again, we can plug back in to see if we get the right answer, if it checks. The next one, I'm just going to set it up for you and then let you finish and solve it on your own. With this one, when we multiply in this direction, remember again, we have 6 times both the x and the 2. And then when we multiply in this direction, we have 10 times both the x and the negative 2. All right, so see if you can go ahead and finish that one up from there, and then try the last one, see if you can set that one up on your own.